Hello, Wolfpack! It's Patriot Day, and in order to celebrate our great country of the United States of America, we're going to be doing a special list. This is the top 5 Call of Duty games. Remember, this is just our silly opinion, so if you see a game on here you don't like or wish to see a Call of Duty game on here, please don't take it personally. This is just our opinion. So we hope you enjoy this list, so let's get started. Number 5. Call of Duty Ghosts. Yes, I know. Ghosts isn't as huge as the other titles, but you know what? We kind of had fun with this one. I guess one of the reasons people hate this game is because it's got a sort of cartoony atmosphere and a lot of impossible scenarios compared to the otherwise more realistic Call of Duty games. In it, it turns out the ghosts are at war with an evil organization that plans to, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
We follow Logan and his father and his brother, who are all a family of military ghosts, and apparently one of the ghosts has gone rogue. His name is Commander Rourke. They assumed he died, but it turns out, of course, he's alive and for some reason evil now. In it, Logan goes through a lot of weird scenarios and awesome combat, and we do get to follow other players, playable characters, who help along the way. One of the reasons we liked it is because, yeah, sure, some of the levels and story parts are super cartoony and James Bond-ish, but, you know, we had fun with it. While the other Call of Duties were more realistic, like in World War II or the Cold War and such, Ghosts decided to be more creative and generated new levels with fantastic elements. Like there's a level in space, and there's a level underwater, and of course, the best level of all in a first-person shooter, a train level. Which, for some reason, the train level is a bit oddly built, but still fun in its own right. While Call of Duty Ghosts may be lacking in story a bit, such as Rourke not being that interesting of a villain, it does have a great multiplayer, definitely because it stepped up its gameplay mechanics and introduced the game Infected. Or I believe it introduced. My history in Call of Duty isn't as strong as my partner Wolf's. But Call of Duty Ghosts is definitely worthy to live up to the title. While yes, it did fall to the cliche of having sequel bait intended, Call of Duty Ghosts definitely was the more creative of the Call of Duty games, especially in terms of level design. Number 4. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Yes, this is the first game of the Modern Warfare series, but it's still under the Call of Duty name, since as you see, the Modern Warfare series no longer numbered itself in COD games. This is the first game with an M rating, and it's set in the future of 2011. Yeah, I know, that kind of makes it dated, but, you know, it does have a fun atmosphere. Basically, the plot is, the Middle East has declared war against the West and has deceived Russia into entering a civil war so they won't stand in their way. The story has numerous plot twists that keep the player on their feet, and definitely is praised as one of the better Call of Duty games with an amazing story. It's also the first Call of Duty game to feature a Ghostbuster. That's right, Bill Murray is actually in this game as a playable character, but only in flashback levels. While Modern Warfare does have a lot of elements similar to our military, it does have a very fictional atmosphere. Like, as you can tell, we're past 2011, and some of the technology they have doesn't exist yet, and some of the scenarios aren't that strong in existence yet. But Call of Duty Modern Warfare has been praised as one of the best in the franchise, though we don't know why, because we haven't played that one enough, but the fandom seems to agree that Modern Warfare was definitely a step up in the Call of Duty franchise. One of the cons is that they do criticize that the multiplayer wasn't as good as other COD games, but it is passable for them. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is definitely one of the better Call of Duty games, mostly because of its amazing story and a Ghostbuster.
There's something you don't see every day.
Number 3. Call of Duty 2. Yes, Call of Duty 2 actually made it on this list. Call of Duty 2 basically follows the World War II scenario, where you're, of course, fighting in the European front mostly. quite a bit of it actually takes place in Italy, so there's a huge emphasis on the Italian campaign, which you have to admit, not many World War II games would focus on what happened in Italy. It's always usually Germany or in the Japanese side. The game also follows a lot back on your life, meaning your characters do get more development in this Call of Duty game. In fact, the soldiers you lose will leave a heavy impact on you in your first playthrough, so there's definitely more of an emotional feeling in this Call of Duty game. A lot of people actually praise it, though, because one of the mechanics introduced has regenerating health. Yes, this is the first Call of Duty game that introduced regenerating health to help heal you while you take cover. Definitely noteworthy on this list. The first mission actually introduces your character only for him to die. They actually utilize the decoy protagonist method here by having your first character die and follow someone else throughout the rest of the game. What Wolf's favorite level is that it does also introduce one of the few Call of Duty aspects of you actually get to go through a bunker that's owned by the enemy and blow up their boats and planes and destroy all of their artillery, while nobody or barely any guards are around, which is very interesting. You never get to walk enemy territory and just blow up planes and tanks and stuff like that, which is the first Call of Duty to do so. The final mission basically has you blow up a V2 rocket. Not sure how safe that is, just straight up blowing up a rocket while you're near it, but it seems to be a very noteworthy ending. Call of Duty 2, while not exactly the most strongest game in story, definitely more high on the emotions and character development. It actually shows you World War II and its emotional impact, almost to Saving Private Ryan levels. While Call of Duty 2 may be one of the more forgotten titles, we never forget it because it is one of the greatest Call of Duty games for its emotional impact and showing that sometimes you can care about the characters in a Call of Duty game. Number 2, Call of Duty World at War. Yes, this one does follow the World War II story arc that's been going on in the Call of Duty games. The main character starts out as a POW in the Pacific campaign in Japan until he enters the European campaign when he's recruited. Part of the European campaign is actually set in Russia and then also moves to Germany through the eyes of a Russian soldier. Yes, one of the few Call of Duty games where you can actually play the Russian side of the war. Though one of the complaints about this game is that the final mission of this game is not as strong as more modern Call of Duty games, since you basically fight through a large room full of Germans until getting to a balcony and plant the Russian flag, bringing down the Nazi banners for some reason. While it's not as infamous as the No Russian segment on a different Call of Duty game, this one did kind of have an anti-climax of a final mission, though that hasn't stopped the game from being fun in its own right. The multiplayer did also adjust to the more modern controllers we have and introduce some cheat codes to help you pass through them. It's also the very first Call of Duty game that introduced zombies, pretty specifically Nazi zombies. Yeah, this was the Call of Duty game that launched the Nazi campaigns as bonus content. Pretty interesting. World at War is certainly more likable because it did follow a different perspective in World War II through the eyes of the Russians. And I gotta admit, the Russians were a lot more interesting than the Americans in this campaign. Well, I haven't played World at War. Our channel owner Wolf seems to praise it as one of the more better Call of Duty titles. It also was the first Call of Duty game that did lead to the more successful one featured on this list in the #1 spot. But World at War on its own definitely stands out as one of the more complex Call of Duty games. And finally, we reach our #1 on the list. Call of Duty Black Ops. Yes, Call of Duty Black Ops is considered the one we like, the best Call of Duty game in the entire franchise. Call of Duty Black Ops is rich in gameplay, story, and character development. Basically, your main character, Mason, is a U.S. soldier who the government has trapped and is now torturing, and we believe that he has been brainwashed by the Russian leader, Dragovich, after being captured by Fidel Castro. Oh yeah, Fidel Castro's in the beginning of this game, then we never see him again. kind of a letdown that there was actually a major political figure in this game, and he doesn't even get a story, at least not until the zombie campaign. So Call of Duty Black Ops follows Mason and being interrogated by the U.S. government, and the game is mostly in flashbacks. This game actually takes place in the Cold War, and does introduce a lot of fantastic elements, such as all those conspiracy theories about Americans spying on Russians, and Russians using some weird tactics and spying on Americans. Obviously, one case being that they supposedly brainwashed Mason while he was captured. We also follow the end story of the famous character from Call of Duty World at War, Viktor Reznov, comes back, voiced again by Gary Oldman. Reznov and Mason befriended each other while they were held in a Russian gulag and escaped. However, Reznov shows up continuously throughout the game, following Mason and helping him in his endeavors. So basically, it does come down to fighting a villain who wants to, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
So Mason is trying to stop Dragovich and the Russians, and you get to follow all of the Cold War battles, the Vietnam War, the Bay of Pigs invasion, and all the supposedly classified battles that took place in the Cold War. While Mason doesn't get like a huge character arc, it's basically him trying to recover his memories and find out the truth of why he was set up and captured by his own government. Only for it to turn out that the Russians were, of course, behind it, because Dragovich wants to use a complex plan to destroy the world so Russia will win, and all that weird story stuff. Call of Duty Black Ops also has a very fun multiplayer, though it is kind of challenging, and it's not as good as Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer, but it did pave the way for it, and it has one of the funnest levels, Nuketown, which has become a huge fan favorite, and our channel co-owners like to play that level a lot in their spare time. Call of Duty Black Ops is one of the funnest games, and the story is definitely still intriguing, despite, me glossing over it. So Black Ops shouldn't be underestimated. However, one of the cons is it is very expensive to buy in most regions, especially because it is one of the more successful Call of Duty titles. Black Ops has gone down as one of the best Call of Duty games because of its complex story, its fun gameplay, and overall the enjoyment a player can get even if you're not into Call of Duty. It does introduce a lot of fun things, hence the reason why it is being named #1 on the list of top 5 Call of Duty games. Here are some honorable mentions that you might have wanted to see but didn't quite make it in. Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is definitely a weird game, to say nonetheless. However, a lot of people praise it because apparently it was fun, but we didn't think it was above the first Black Ops, especially because it offered a lot of weirdness to it and was actually almost more cartoony than Ghosts. Yeah, this game was actually more cartoony than Call of Duty Ghosts. However, a lot of people seem to like it, so we think they deserve to see it mentioned on this list. And Call of Duty Classic. It's a classic. Does anything more need to be said? We thank you for watching this video. We hope you like, comment, and subscribe, or tune in next time for new videos here featured on Wolf and Friends Gaming. Happy Patriot Day. God bless America.
The spirit of Massachusetts is the spirit of America. The spirit of what's old and what's new. The spirit of Massachusetts is the spirit of America. The spirit of the red, white, and blue.